Ensnared in a death trap, an unconventional team of antiheroes embarks on a dangerous mission that forces them to confront the darkest corners of their past. Thunderbolts is directed by Jake Schreier and stars Florence Pugh, Louis Pullman, David Harbour, Wyatt Russell, Sebastian Stan, and many more. So Matt, what do you think of Thunderbolts?
All right, so this is going to be a bit of a out of the blue review because we have no notes.
No notes.
This is pretty much an out of theater reaction, if you can call it that. We're not in front of the theater, but we literally just came from the theater.
My computer is gone. I have nothing to refer to. I have no notes.
You know, Marvel has been going through a lot lately.
Just to put context out there, I think this is the first Marvel film I've seen since Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Yes.
I don't think I've seen anything in between that. And then before that, I saw Shang-Chi and I saw the Doctor Strange film. And that's basically all I've seen since Endgame.
Yeah.
Oh, and Black Widow.
Eternals.
Oh, the Eternals.
Yeah,
I forgot about the Eternals.
Yeah.
But anyway, that gives people kind of an idea of where we've at.
Yeah.
You've seen more than I have.
Yes. I think the only one I missed was Captain America, so I have not seen that yet, but I did not hear the best things. Thunderbolts came out to decent reviews, and I would say I was pleasantly surprised. I think for a Marvel film, it's been such a mixed bag lately. I would say Eternals, I absolutely love the aesthetic of that film, but it could not be more boring. I gave it a rewatch actually kind of recently when I was sick, and I felt the similar way about it. I really enjoyed the aesthetic. I liked the characters, and I just felt like it fell flat. And I think with Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I would say it's probably my favorite of this iteration of Marvel since Endgame.
Actually, one of my favorite Marvel movies.
Yeah, and that was, 2 years ago at this point?
Not to get digress, but that movie was an interesting thing. It was known it was going to be James Gunn's last film for Marvel, most likely. He was wrapping up a trilogy. It didn't seem like that movie was overburdened by a bunch of lore to set up all of these things. So that movie, I think, was actually an interesting lesson for Marvel. But...
And lore is the thing you hate most about Marvel.
Yes.
But in a way here with Thunderbolts, we're familiar with a lot of these characters. We have David Harbour and Florence Pugh. They were both introduced in the Black Widow movie, which we both did not like. I had my problems with that movie because I felt like it was pushing the boundaries of what Black Widow was as a character. I thought it was trying to make her out to be something that she wasn't and what her character wasn't built to be throughout the previous films. So that was basically my main problem with Black Widow. And I think that was something that was actually rectified in this film. I thought this movie was extremely personable. I thought it focused on its characters, and it didn't extend itself far beyond what the characters themselves are capable of. So it really built out these characters and their abilities. It didn't seem out of the realm of belief for what they could do in this film. And so I love that it stayed grounded in that sense. That was probably my favorite thing about the film. Now, I wouldn't say it achieved this all the time. I would say sometimes this was a hindrance. There's a couple moments where I felt like there wasn't much weight to the movie. It only happened very few times, but otherwise I found it extremely hilarious. There was some great standout performances by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, I would say. David Harbour brings so many laughs in this film. Florence Pugh in a different way because she's so serious, but in this movie, her role is very heartfelt. So there was kind of a change between the last movie and this movie. She's dealing with a lot of her internal battles, as they all are. And I think that's one of the main themes of the film.
So you liked it?
Yes, I liked it. I was surprised. I was pleasantly surprised. I wouldn't say I loved it, but I think for a Marvel film and the way it's been going, why are we... That's a lot of whiskey.
It's been a long time since I've seen a Marvel movie, and I just forgot how flat these things are. These movies are so uninteresting.
Okay, this wasn't that bad.
No, it's not. That's the thing, is it's not bad. It's like so punishingly mediocre. This movie, it's completely competent. It achieves everything it sets out to do, but it has such low expectations of itself that, like, of course it succeeds in what it's trying to do. I was just like watching this movie, and I was so shocked at how little urgency there was in the story, how little the story actually made sense for like why people are moving from place to place, flat and perfunctory and oddly like prototypical all of the backstories were for everyone. Like, oh, this is a movie about mental health. Oh, shoot. That guy, abusive dad. Sad, sad, sad. Oh, Florence Pugh killed people. Oh, sad, sad, sad. Drank too much. All of these little things, like I'm reading like the world's worst short story collection from like a very sad teenager. And it ends up trying to make a point that I think is a true point, which is like the way out is through in terms of mental health. There are examples that completely predate this, so I don't want to pretend like this is the be all end all. But watching this film, I saw such parody with the last 20 minutes of Paranorman. And in the last 20 minutes of Paranorman, I was crying. And in this movie, I was just like, can I sneak in a bathroom break? And again, this movie is not a disaster. It's not like you're going to see this and you're going to say, this is a mess. How did this make it to screen? But it lacks a very distinct soulfulness and artfulness of intention and artfulness of filmmaking and artfulness of craft of characters and story that I'm so surprised that like we just accept these things. I hear all of the, and I actually heard you say one, I hear all of these qualifiers with Marvel movies. Like, oh, for a Marvel movie, this did a thing. I read another review and a tweet of a snippet of a review on Rotten Tomatoes, and it was like, people are going to be so surprised when it's not a CGI fest at the end of the movie and it's actually about emotions. I'm like, oh, wow. Never been done before. We find all of these ways to quantify Marvel movies in different ways that really frustrate me. If this was any movie that didn't have a backstory, that didn't have a connection to anything else, and we just went to see this, like, I don't think we would think it was really that good, to be upfront about this. I like in my heart of hearts, like how much this movie hurts my soul. I want to give it a D-, but it's like a C+ movie. It is. It's like a C+ or B- movie in my opinion. Okay. So that's would be my grade at the end of this. So I'm just trying to make a broader point of like what passes for passable entertainment today. We've been lucky with some blockbusters recently, the Mission Impossible franchise, and we just had Sinners come out not too long ago. Gosh, what is the place for this in entertainment now? I felt so empty. You call this movie extremely hilarious, whereas I thought David Harbour was hilarious, by the way. Sorry, I'm on kind of a rant right now. David Harbour is so funny in this movie, and not only is he given the best material, but he delivers it flawlessly. But for the amount of jokes that are in this movie, I don't think our audience laughed maybe they laughed 3 or 4 times. We're a surprisingly dead audience. And the only time
It wasn't that filled of a theater, though, I would say.
It wasn't, but they livened up really considerably when they saw the post-credit scene, which the post-credit scene is just like, this is the next movie coming out. And I'm just like, well, how is anyone getting better from watching this? And like, how are they learning anything? And like, how are we engaging with storytelling? And I can't with these movies anymore. Okay. I just can't do it.
Okay.
I can't. I'm not gonna drink this. This is part of the bit.
Oh,
this is just. I'm gonna have to find a way to pour this back in the bottle at the end of this.
My angle's probably not focused on me now because your arm was blocking the.
Sorry, angle. And also, I brought my special cup that says I'd rather be staring into the void, because the void is a very important part of this film. Because we read 2 pages of a Friedrich Nietzsche book, and now we know all about the void, and we're going to quote Kierkegaard and reduce his entire philosophy to something that Sebastian Stan says in passing to somebody. Oh gosh, this movie, it's almost like it knows it needs to bring something else to the table, and it just doesn't know how. So it does things like quoting Kierkegaard with like faux intellectualism. And
is that your rant?
Yes.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Do you want a sip of that? Dude, maybe
I need a sip. Yeah. I think I need a little sip. I need a little sip.
Yeah. I mean, you obviously we don't want you going through all that. Where do I begin? Okay.
Do you understand where I'm coming from? I guess on some level. I understand
where you're coming from, Jeffrey, but not like everybody doesn't watch Tarkovsky and like understand.
I'm not saying this movie needs to be Tarkovsky.
No, I know, but
but can it at least be Mission Impossible?
No, I understand, but like I think what you're missing a little bit is that Marvel has been doing all these things wrong. They've been falling away from like character and character-driven story and building their characters up, which therefore drive the series forward into future films. This was something they did really well with Captain America and Iron Man. Like you saw the change of Tony Stark's character and how he evolved over the course of so many movies, even though there was a propelling of story, like you have to go see this movie, you have to go see this movie, but his character was slowly evolving and changing over time. And I think that was something Marvel had lost in this new iteration. It was bringing us into all these characters off the high of what was before, and it really needed to take a moment to take a beat, settle down, maybe plan a little bit more. They could have taken a little bit more of a break and decide what this new iteration was going to be and how these characters were going to be. And I think this movie is actually them taking a lot of feedback when they're building the storyline that has to be overarching to this larger narrative that's about to happen.
Yeah.
You need to weave that in a way that's like authentic and not as trite. And I feel like this film did a better job of doing that. That was a little snippet at the end, but it had to do with the Fantastic Four's arrival, which we know that film was coming out. I just felt like it was a little thing that if you've seen that trailer, you know what the Fantastic Four ship looked like. So even before the logo shows on the side, you kind of get excited for something. You think that something is building again. I don't know. That's how I felt in this film. I wouldn't say it was overwhelmingly awesome, but I love that it took us back to ground zero a little bit. It decided to focus on these characters. Oh, this was something I was thinking about earlier that I forgot until now. But I agree with you. I think the way that they handle their trauma is a little bit flat. Florence Pugh is probably the best example of that because I think she has the most heart in the film. So her story has to connect to Robert Reynolds' character, who's played by Lewis Pullman in the film. We don't even get much from him besides he might have an abusive father, but it's only that one snippet. And I really felt like we needed more than that to understand him.
That's why I felt like all of these important ideas and philosophies that I deeply care about have been commandeered for like lowest common denominator entertainment. That's why like it bothered me.
Yeah.
I think your perspective is completely fair. And by the way, anyone who's really mad at me right now, you can like come at me in the comments. This is okay. This is a subjective opinion. To me, it's almost more offensive that this movie tried to say something because it just said it so poorly. All of these really, really complex ideas, like these like complex, true psychological distress that people encounter and their traumas and unraveling them, and the idea that the way out is through, all of it was, it felt so perfunctory. It felt like it was thrown on the end like a little plot point. And I agree with you that I think that this is a reaction to what a lot of people have said about Marvel. I don't think that this film quite gets back to the heights of where they were with character development quite yet. Is it a step in the right direction? Is it better than what I heard the Marvels was? Then yeah, I guess so. I guess I'm getting tired of this type of entertainment sucking up so much of the vacuum of what we talk about and all of the money. Like, this movie costs like $250 million, right? We could have gotten 6 black bags. I have to think of this too on like a broader film level and like what we choose to pay attention to and like what we choose to highlight on our channel. I know we have a very small following and everything, and I'm just very passionate about like people's minds being expanded by art in general and filmmaking.
Yeah.
And I just don't know that this
But
movie
what are you
is
supposed to
doing
like
much of that.
at some point I also have to I have to understand and accept the fact that this movie is going to make so much more money than Black Bag did.
There's a push and pull within the studio system to get artfulness into these films. So for instance, like Mission Impossible is not like a life-changing movie, but there's artfulness in how that film is directed and how they do their stunt work and the choreography of the action sequences. There's like something for me to dig into, something that I can see that a lot of effort was put into something that was perfected, which when I watch this film, there's just so much that's so flat about it. I thought David Harbour was hilarious. I genuinely did.
I think I said all I had to say. I don't
This is such an unhinged review.
This is.
I love it.
honestly,
I mean, this is a no notes review.
I mean, this is the pluses and minuses of not being able to think on a film and like write notes down because I'm usually well more articulate when it comes to like the details of a film. I love the part where Sebastian Stan came back. His like re-arrival.
Academy Award nominee.
Academy Award nominee Sebastian Stan.
Quoting Kierkegaard.
Yeah. But when he like shows back up to the Thunderbolts in the car, in the limo, and he does his little thing with the trucks, and I thought that was really cool. It had this magical Marvel flair to me.
That was realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like they were actually flipping things.
Yeah.
They probably were.
I also really liked the moment. See, this is the perfunctory stuff that you hate, but I thought was kind of fun. This big rock is falling from the sky. And then I think it's Wyatt Russell's character as the old Captain America, new Captain America, that not Captain America anymore. If you saw the TV show, which I don't even think you saw. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did watch
That was okay to the last episode.
Yeah. Anyways, his character grabs the stone and then all the rest of them join in. And I don't know, the stone was like representative to me of all this weight that they're carrying.
Yeah, it was their...
they pushed it over together.
It was also their We Are Groot moment.
Yes, yeah. And it was a nice metaphor.
I think if you're allowed to compare within Marvel and say this is a step forward, this is better, I can also compare this to other Marvels or other Marvel films and say like this has the most parity with Guardians of the Galaxy in some ways, like in terms of the misfits coming together and the rejected people. Or
Suicide Squad was another one.
Yeah, that's a DC film, but that made me feel. I felt there was a lot of Suicide Squad vibes to this film. They always have that moment where they came together, but all of those groups, I did feel the least engaged with this one. There's actually ideas in this movie I really like the whole idea of that final sequence. And I don't think we're going to spoil exactly what happens, but there's a series of rooms that they go into that are memories. And I would have liked to have spent a lot more time there.
Yeah.
And I think that was really interesting. And I think there are ways that you could have done that are both entertaining, that wouldn't have bored audiences, but also given people a little bit more to chew on.
Yeah. Well, there's an easy way they could have done that because they did it at the beginning of the movie. When they first meet this guy and he transports Yelena, and then I think Wyatt is always also transformed. What's his character's name in the film now? I forget. I don't know. Whatever his character's name is in the film, but they're both transported to this place. They could utilize that type of sequence even more to have us see a little bit more of their backstories. But on that note, I will say about the end, there's like a entrapping element where most of our team is trapped. It's a little humorous, the ease at which they escape these entrappings, yet they bound them to keep them from helping in the first place.
Yeah.
So they just kind of easily escape this thing, which once you see the movie, I was just kind of like, it's a small thing. It's a small detail. But I was like, okay, we're just going to bust right on out of this thing that held us back for like 10 minutes of runtime. So you're ready to go to grades?
Yeah, as I said before, I'm going to give this a C+. This really is like not that bad of a movie. I think this just gets to a personal crisis within me about what I care about in entertainment. And I do feel like there's a push and pull between art and commerce. And however much you can get a little bit of artfulness into commerce is a big win. And there are ways to do that I think are profitable and entertaining. And I think those are some of the hardest things to do in all of entertainment. It's easy to be... I don't know, think of the most esoteric artists that you can think of that makes odd soundscapes, right? But being the Beatles is really, really hard. Like integrating experimental and groundbreaking ideas into your music while also making them poppy and sensible. That is like an extremely hard thing to do. Incorporating really dense philosophical ideas into pulse pounding entertainment that people go see. That's a hard thing to do. And I really, really appreciate when people do that. And I just wish that like the push and pull of this film, I think commerce wore on a little bit too much. And I wish that we saw a little bit more artfulness because I felt like they were approaching it because I feel like they had the ideas and they said, let's just put this in there because we need to instead of because it's like the right thing to do. I don't know. That's what I got. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I apologize to everybody.
Right. I disagree quite a bit, I would say. Well, no, I think I understand exactly where you're coming from, and I understand you as a person and what you look for in film. And I just think mainstream audiences are on a different level than you, and their expectations are a little different. There's a core group of the mainstream audience which literally Snow White was a bomb, and yet that movie made over $300 million. So is it going to make back the money that it was spent on it? No, but still, audiences to a certain degree went to see it if it still made $300 million, where other things just aren't doing the same. So I think I have to look at it from that perspective, is that there is this mainstream audience that thinks a little differently and has different expectations than you do.
That's also why I said when you're able to inject a little bit of artfulness into it, that's the most beautiful thing that there is.
Yeah.
I had this professor in college, and he always said, make room for a little art in your life, right? And if you could insert art into a Marvel movie and it's been done before, it's a really great thing.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm
Speaking
saying.
of, you should probably watch the Loki series, because I would say
don't want to.
if you want to see a little bit of art, I think that is exactly what you're looking for. And I hope some people who see this agree with that.
I would actually, if Matt has been harping on this, if anyone else has seen Loki and you think that based off my taste that I would enjoy it, I would love to hear it.
Please help me out. Please help me out. Because Loki, I think, does a really good job of speaking to your place in the world and the existential crises that you face in terms of your self-worth and your purpose to the world. That's just my little take on Loki. So what I'm saying is they can do it right. This movie, for me, it worked. I give it a B. I thought it worked as a great course correction for Marvel. I think they're starting to pay attention to things here that they should have been paying attention to all along. It got me excited again. I was a little bit excited again. I'm not going to lie. When I saw that Fantastic Four ship coming up, I was like, I've seen this trailer.
Yeah.
I haven't said this on the trailer yet, but I've seen this Fantastic Four trailer, and I'm literally obsessed with this.
Was that the one that we saw before the film?
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't touched by it at all.
I love the time period. I love the aesthetic. Yes, of course. This is one of the movies I'm most excited for all year, and that's not a joke.
Oh, God, okay.
So
Usa.
it's Pedro Pascal.
I do love him. He's a little overexposed right now, but yes, he's great.
Oh my God.
It's a lot of Pedro
He is
Pascal.
making that money, honey.
Oh yeah. I should just say that I think that I was going to bring up Andor and how good Andor is.
Oh yeah, Andor is amazing.
That's a show that to me, I'm like, oh, Star Wars can do great things.
Oh gosh.
Sorry. Marvel can do great things. Marvel
Yes.
can make Andor,
Yeah. And I really think that this is the building blocks of that. I think this is the start of something. You didn't look at Iron Man the first time and think of what it was going to become and what that character was going to become. You were seeing a snippet of the beginning of something and the building blocks of that. And I really think that this is doing some of those things here as well. So obviously not to the level as Iron Man. I'm not saying that, but I think it's getting there.
Could be. Fair enough. And that's it for a review of Thunderbolts, which is now in theaters. I deeply apologize for my performance on this review, but if you disagree with me, please, I would love to hear it in the comments. Go see Thunderbolts and let us know what you think. I have to go pour this back into the whiskey bottle. Thank you.